Right here.
His unhinged social media posts and recant his violent rhetoric before it gets somebody killed. Actually, they're the ones who are advocating violence. They're the ones who ceaselessly defame people like me as racist, fascist, white supremacists, or Nazis. By the way, anytime anyone evokes the name of Adolf Hitler, look at them very carefully.
What's up, G-Boo?
Because the basic rule of the left is something called Alinsky, is written by a communist revolutionary, Saul Alinsky. His very first rule was always accuse your political opponent or enemy of doing exactly what you yourself are doing. So while President Trump is absolutely correct, these elected lawmakers appearing in the video ought to face charges on sedition. It's not likely, unfortunately, that they'll be held to account. Nearly 1 year into President Trump's second term, I'm disappointed that not one of the deep state apparatchiks who invented the entire Russian collusion hoax has been exposed for committing blatant treason, and none of them.
How do you like my new red comforter? You know, I got a whole bunch of these comforters here. This wintertime, I told you, right? I bought a whole cart filled with these comforters. This is my Christmas comforter.
Whether he had lied under oath to Congress, what they charged me with, the difference being the lies he told were material. He was hiding the underlying conspiracy, the largest single dirty trick in American political history, the so-called Russian collusion hoax. There seems to be willful neglect of President Trump's electoral mandate to drain the swamp. If dozens of Obama and Biden-era criminals, I'm talking about people like CIA Director John Brennan, who I believe is behind the seditious six. It's not incidental that Senator Slotkin is a former associate of his. We're talking about James Clapper, the former national security advisor. I'm talking about the former head of the U.S. intelligence agency, also former national security advisor Susan Rice, former Deputy Attorney Rod Rosenstein, former FBI Director Andrew McCabe, and many others in the Russian collusion cabal have not been indicted and subjected to dehumanizing perp walks like my wife and I were, not being dragged through the grueling loop of humiliating court proceedings, then I think that the president's going to have a very hard time reassembling his coalition for the midterm elections. The American people want justice. They want accountability and justice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 of them here.
Because the Department of Justice has
All right, so we got the numbers here that we elected last time.
Well, there comes.
And we got the book ready here for this time. For these numbers.
In their eyes, they're still above the law. President Trump has delivered consequences on so many issues, but none are more important to me than cleaning up the deep state and returning the nation to a constitution and a basis of law and order. Removing the permanent government from Washington, D.C. and crippling their apparatus of control, to me, is absolutely essential. Or they will just lie dormant and then undo the progress the president made as soon as he departs from the White House, or if they can manage some way to win the midterm elections, the last few years of Donald Trump's presidency will be a blur of impeachments and investigations as they seek once again to undo his presidency. So I think it's incumbent that the Department of Justice move quickly. Finally, President Donald Trump declared on Wednesday that any document signed by Joe Biden with an auto pen is hereby terminated and therefore no further.
So we got the pens out. We got the pens out. We're using pink for the 3-digit numbers and purple for the 4-digit numbers.
The other pen is not allowed to be used if approval was not specifically given by the President of the United States. At least that's what President Trump said on Truth Social. Now, I don't think it is that simple. I think the way to do this is that the Department of Justice needs to charge somebody whose pardon was specifically executed with the order pen. Let me give you an example. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci definitely lied to Congress under oath. They accused me of lying to Congress under oath, but you see, no misstatement I made was either willful, nor did it hide any underlying crimes.
We got 2187.
There was no WikiLeaks collaboration.
We got 67, 67, 14.
So in my case, they fabricated crimes in order to pressure me into bearing false witness against Donald Trump. They wanted me to be Michael Cohen, and I refused to be Michael Cohen.
I got 50,
But until somebody
629.
is a perfect example because it is very clear under questioning by Senator Rand Paul about whether U.S. taxpayers
Got 92,
function experiments in the Wuhan lab. He said no.
69.
Demonstrably, yes. So the Justice Department could charge Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci's legal responsibility
84.
not be charged because he has a pardon.
28.
Preemptive pardon is signed by Joe Biden. And the Justice Department could then argue that that preemptive pardon is not enforced because it was executed by an auto pen. There, once again,
And we got
the question of the auto pens in front of a court, which is
69.
I mean, the radical left lunatics circulating Biden around the beautiful blue desk in the Oval Office took the
52.
presidency away from him. President Trump believes he's canceled all executive orders and anything else that was
I got
signed by
53.
Joe himself, because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process. That's pretty clear.
84.
If he says he was, he'd be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you to.
All right, so those are the
Again, it's really quite extraordinary, but that is the way to get to the bottom far more further than that. Meanwhile, there's an election this Sunday in Honduras that we should all be paying attention to because I think
those are the first numbers.
who currently run Cuba, of course, and run Venezuela, where President Trump is determined to drive Maduro from power, are on the
Those are the first numbers that I selected.
Trump administration must make it clear that the Honduran people deserve a legitimate choice. President Trump's aggressive foreign policy in Latin America has actually been a major shift away from the type of Republican interventionism commonplace during the so-called neocon era under the Bushes. Instead of setting the untenable goal of promoting democracy to backwards left-wing Islamic cave dwellers, under Donald Trump, we've set our sights on the laudable goal of eliminating communism in our hemisphere. President Trump's decisive actions in Venezuela, under the leadership of my friend Secretary of State Marco Rubio, have put the communist dictator there, Nicolas Maduro, on notice. Maduro is recruiting partners, however, through Latin America to facilitate his narco-trafficking empire, which relies upon to remain afloat.
Then we're going to select the three-digit numbers. These are my three-digit numbers that I'm selecting.
Poverty in that country. Making matters worse for Maduro, his top allies in Honduras, the Libra Party members, are set to lose their
749.
They have an honest election. The new polling from the Instituto de Justicia showed the Libra Party
372.
Rixi Moncada in a distant third place behind national presidential candidate Nasri Asfura and the Liberal Party presidential candidate Salvador
8.
Nasrallah. But Nasrallah, to be very clear, is what New York we call
94.
a ringer. This is a candidate that was thrown into the race in an attempt to split the
6.
vote of those who oppose Xiomara Castro and
73.
and Rixi Moncada, who would be president, whose name was Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was pro-U.S. and anti-communist, was framed by the Biden Justice Department and sentenced to 45 years in prison for non-existent drug dealing. He was convicted solely and completely on the basis of testimony from two convicted drug traffickers who were already in prison. And in return for their testimony against Hernandez, you guessed it, they were let out of prison. So what I think you have coming here is an attempt to steal this election, and to do so by the
724.
the fake technology that we have seen utilized in Venezuela and elsewhere. I think I saw it used in our own elections here in 2020.
And 218. 218.
Between now and Sunday, he should announce the pardon of Juan Orlando Hernandez. And I think that would drive the forces of Hernandez's party.
Yeah, so those are the numbers that I
Hey,
picked.
watch this carefully. Tulsi Gabbard has been deputized to run a working group to examine the
Now let's go over to your numbers. Your numbers are,
of both the computerized
okay, let's put up the computers here.
paper
We got 9987.
Achilles heel of the American left. And now, once we have a final governmental determination of where there is not supposition, not theory, not investigative journalism, but hard evidence that these electronic voting machines can, in fact, be manipulated.
We got
I believe they can,
45,
I believe it will be shown. Then I think there's almost no chance
4522.
Democrats will win the 2026 election. I think that there were at least 20 million non-existent votes.
We got
or
10,
votes of people who did not exist counted in.
1022.
I think that will and can be proven.
And we got 10.
Roger Stone, we got more politics for you, so whatever you do,
1020.
don't go away. This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone. He politics and he's a professional.
Now we got
Level, Roger Stone.
5, 5, 5, 6.
At Shriners Children's, every day brings hope and healing to patients facing complex medical conditions. From groundbreaking research to compassionate care, they help children regardless of the family's ability to pay or insurance status. That's kids like Fippen, so he can be more independent. Here's Fippen, talking about a few things he loves about Shriners Children's.
Shriners has just helped me a lot.
All right, then we got,
So many wheelchairs, so much great food in the cafeteria. I love that food in the cafeteria.
590 from you.
All the donations that people give Shriners to help other kids. And it's just amazing because when I come here, I feel like I belong.
And we got
We can all make a difference by calling
301 from you.
007 or going online to Love Shriners.
Then we got
to give.
4,
Go to loveshriners.org now to give.
4, 3 from you.
Every year, over 1 million older adults end up in hospital from falls and injuries. And for decades, they told us the solution is simple: more calcium and vitamin D. But those
And then we got
bone health like
8,
and too much calcium can even create other problems.
7, 4
There's a new
from you.
hiding in plain sight that helps rebuild bone density and stop bone loss. Blow your doctor away with your next DEXA scan result. Just go to getnativepad.com/bow and get
Oh yeah, look at that.
today.
Starting to fill up the page.
PHDH.com/bow.
What if the future of finance wasn't built around Abacus, but around you? At Abacus Global Management, we're reshaping financial planning around the most personal data point, your lifespan. But it's more than just insight, it's control. As a technology-driven asset manager, we're empowering investors with an integrated system to take command of your time, your future, your financial destiny. This is a new era of investing. Take control at abacusgm.com.
All right, now we got to get some more numbers. So now we're going to get, oh, look at 1430.
Donate it today and get it picked up tomorrow. It's the easiest service out there. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid. to be
1430.
scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Taxes
91.
is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the
19.
IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we
And
have a solution.
13.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are.
31. I like that number, 1331.
9068. Don't lose hope.
I like that number.
Or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals.
You should play that number, 1331.
1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmares today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-579-9068. That's 800-579-9068. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is John Katzenfeld. When growing all of our companies, I never had a fancy.
When I gamble for the big money. I only gamble for the big money. You already know that.
Number one talk station in the country. If you advertise,
Now you put 655.
email me at cat@wabcradio.com. And we'll create your own ad for you and make your company a winner too.
You're listening to the #1 Nielsen rated.
655. You put
77 WABC.
677.
This is the Stone Zone with Roger Stone. Roger Stone is a one of the smartest political minds. Roger Stone was persecuted. People forget he's actually a brilliant political analyst. Now, give him his own. It's the Stone Zone. Here's Roger Stone.
All right, so 677. Then you
Come back into
1935.
Mystery out of Ukraine has finally arrived and turned out that it's played a solid goal.
1935.
So this month, while Ukrainians face 12 to 16-hour blackouts, and they literally burn furniture for heat, wiretaps have exposed President Volodymyr Zelensky's closest associate, a man named Timur Mindich, the 45-year-old co-founder of Zelensky's party, bargaining over 10 to 15% kickbacks on the Western aid meant to shield the power grid. For 4 years, Americans watched billions of our tax dollars disappear into a war led by this former comedian who ran on a presidential campaign to stop corruption. As I said earlier in the show, I drove down to Miami to look at his $3.8 million beachfront condominium. Wonder who paid for that other than you and I. Democracy's at stake became.
And you got 239.
Those in Washington who want us to pour hundreds of millions of our tax dollars into a losing war in Ukraine. But in fact, there is no democracy because Zelensky has canceled the elections.
All right, I got
refused to hold new ones. So don't tell me this is about democracy.
I got 9,
15 months of secret surveillance, more than 1,000 hours of White House
9,
and coordinated raids. Ukraine's
81,
Anti-Corruption Bureau and the specialized anti-corruption
981, 2,
have exposed everything as Zelensky
273,
this morning, and his longtime associate Timur Mindich was arrested. We realize now what this war is about. President Trump has
I got 474,
is a work in progress, and it would see certain portions of Ukraine. Places, by the way, I should point out, where 90% of the
and I got
population
5,
is Russian, and where a previous
Oh,
night with a 90%
9.
turnout showed 90% of voters wanting to rejoin the Soviet Union. You won't read that any place in the New York Times, but it is a fact. What they found this
We're starting to fill up the grid here. Starting to fill up the grid with numbers.
a national humiliation. Actually, Zelensky actually has a gleaming gold-plated toilet. Gym bags.
Look at this nice Christmas. This nice Christmas red color we got on top here.
Right straight back to protection shelters for the nuclear plants that we paid for, but which were never built. The man who owned it all, Timur Mindich, a longtime business partner of Zelensky, co-owner of the entertainment empire, and his relatives, who had conveniently fled after being tripped off hours earlier. But this morning, the chief of staff for Zelensky was arrested in the very same scandal. So by nightfall, these photos of bags stuffed with shrink-wrapped $100 bills and the gold-plated toilet from Mendez's apartments exploded across all Ukrainian media, and those who are left with cell phones. This is a massive scandal that I think is the beginning of the end for Zelensky. In the meantime,
All right, so we got
to me, like,
5450.
closer and closer to ending this war. This would be a cap on his ending 8 other conflicts around the globe. History can bestow no greater title than that of peacemaker, and Donald Trump is doing that. Many in the MAGA coalition believe, however, it's time that he turned his focus to domestic issues, because while food prices are down, they're not down as low as they were in the final year of his presidency. And while gas prices are down, they're not down as low as they were in the final year of his presidency. But those who are conceding the 2026 elections are doing so far too early.
2680,
The interest rate cut we deserve,
2680, and 6.
and the housing market opens up, we could have the kind of boom
6777.
Ronald Reagan reelected. So those in the Republican ranks, those who are giving up on the 2026 election, I say not so fast. I'm Roger Stone, listening to the Stone Zone. God bless you for being here with us, and until we meet again, God bless you and.
All right, so we got
This is New York Talk Leader.
284.
Talk Radio. WABC. RCR Haverstraw. 1071 WLIR Hampton Bays. News first at 59 past the hour. 27 WABC News.
We got 6.
Partly cloudy skies on this Black Friday, November 26th.
647.
President Trump is ordering immigration authorities to re-examine green cards following Wednesday's shooting of 2 National Guard members.
We got 382.
The head of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services posted on X that he's directing a rigorous re-examination.
And we got 243.
Immigration is calling countries of concern. Last June, President Trump listed 19 countries that were considered deficient with regard to screening and vetting. The suspect in Wednesday's shooting in Washington, D.C. is originally from Afghanistan, which is on the list. The CIA says he had worked with the U.S. to fight the Taliban. I'm Lisa Carton. This holiday season, Pope Leo says the future of humanity is at stake as there's a heightened level of confliction on the global level. Chris Coraggio has more.
The Pontiff gave the warning during his first foreign speech in Turkey Thursday. Leo also cautioned that wars being fought today are like a third world war fought piecemeal. The leader of the Catholic Church will also head to Lebanon during his trip, which was originally planned for Pope Francis. Leo celebrated the Thanksgiving holiday with pumpkin pies presented to him by 2 journalists during his flight to Turkey. I'm Chris Coraggio.
The names of the victims in a deadly Thanksgiving Day fire in Essex County have been released. 49-year-old Franzia Fleury and her 42-year-old sister Pujani died when their home caught fire along Mosswood Avenue in Orange, New Jersey, Thursday afternoon. The 2 women helped their disabled father escape, and 6 others made it out. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation. The California Bay Area has been hit with a small series of earthquakes. Early Friday morning, a magnitude
All right, so we got 0007.
Smaller tremors shook the San Juan Bautista
000.
area. Thanksgiving Day, a magnitude 4.0 earthquake
7.
struck again near San Juan Bautista, along with 2 smaller shakers. And early Thursday
We
morning,
got 0005.
also hit near the Sonoma Lake County border, and another struck in Pacifica. First Lady Melania Trump is in her next.
We got 2000.
Molly explains.
And we got 0710.
Taking over Tinseltown and creating her own production company. Trump announced her company on social media, Muse Films. She's also sharing a release date for her documentary titled Melania.
And we got 54.
The film will hit theaters on January 30th.
5472.
Most of us have plenty
We got
of leftovers
26.
after Thanksgiving's big meal. So the question is how to keep them
83.
safe and fresh. Alexis Supan, a registered dietitian at the Cleveland Clinic, says there's a few
And we
basics
got
to follow.
37.
Sage
for 3 to 4 days. And
4 or 5.
If you think you're going to go longer than that before you can finish foods off, your best bet is to throw them in the freezer to keep them safe.
She says freezer food can stay indefinitely, although the texture and flavor may change after about 4 months. In sports,
And we
the
got
New York
5-4,
Jets cornerback Boyd, who was left critically wounded,
9-2.
earlier this month outside a popular Midtown restaurant, was back in the hospital over the Thanksgiving holiday. Boyd said he was brought back over his health issues, but did not elaborate.
And we got 22,
Clear, a little breezy, a low of 33 degrees.
13.
Looks great for small business Saturday, some bright sunshine with a high of 43, and for Sunday, cloudy with occasional rain, some drizzle in the afternoon with a high of 48 degrees. We have clearing skies outside of our Midtown studios right now.
All right, now we're gonna go to the pink color.
Never stops at
I'm gonna go back down here.
WABC.com.
Now this is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly.
4,
77 WABC.
38.
Story dies, but it won't. The conspiracy people will keep it going. One of the agendas in place. I have to watch it, but President Trump signed the legislation. Within 30 days, the Justice Department will release not everything, but most of it. So we'll watch it. But by far and away, the most important story for President Trump, the Republicans, the country, you, me, is the cost of existence in America. It's got to get under control.
929.
There's a new poll out about presidential election 3 years from now, but it's all coming back to money. And that is the subject of the talking points memo. Okay, Marist poll. I went to Marist College. It's now Marist University. Not the place that I attended. Much more liberal now. It's okay. You want to go there? You go there. Not my, I would
8.
say a cliche cup of tea, but I'm not.
828.
But anyway, they have a poll. And it is not a very good poll, and I'm hoping, because I know some people work the poll, that it gets better.
573.
Last year, for the presidential vote, they had Harris up by 4 going into election day.
573.
I mean, he has to be better than that.
And we got 610.
They conducted a poll this month on what's likely to be the big issue in the presidential election.
And we got 6.
28. Here it is.
08.
Price is 57%. No surprise. Controlling immigration is 16.
And we got 138.
Ending the war between Ukraine and Russia 7. Maintaining peace between Israel and Gaza. 6. So there's no doubt about it. And President Trump and his administration, if they want to hold the House and Senate next November.
And we got 2.
Of insurance, healthcare, car, house,
2.
and food.
267.
Way on the food now. The opposition, of course, is
All right, we need one more 3-digit number.
it's up. And oil's down. But it's up to them. They know, everybody knows. It's not a secret. Another poll, Gallup, almost 20,000 U.S. adults. Do you think Americans pay too much, too little, or about right? The quality of health care they receive. Pay too much, 90%. Too little, too, about right, 8. 90%. That's a health care thing. And boy, oh boy.
All right, we got 222.
Get on it.
Oh, we got 200. Well, 200, we got to move on to the next page there.
Extremely concerned, somewhat concerned. Totals 37%. Okay, most people think they can make it. And how much stress does healthcare put on you and your family? 52% say a lot or some, 49 not much. But it is a very compelling issue. Got to get that health insurance premiums Medicaid and Medicare spending under control, and that includes Obamacare.
All right, so we moved that on to the next page there.
So I have to cover both parties. I favor the Republican Party now because it upholds traditional values like capitalism, like punishing criminals, like controlling borders.
Now over here we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We still need 7.
However, I
7 4-digit numbers. 7 4-digit numbers.
that I'll cover the next 12 months because Republicans have power now. But I'm not seeing a health care proposal on the table with you. So Johnson and Thune, the big boys in Congress.
So let's split that halfway. I'll do 3 numbers and you do 4 numbers.
One area that is beyond dispute
So I'll do 4,
effectiveness is foreign affairs. It is Joe Biden's birthday.
4, 4,
He's 83 years old. But Biden was
9, 8.
the worst president ever. If you read in front of the president's document that all day long, and I'll do it again tonight. I'll document it.
1, 7,
Trump's been very, very effective overseas.
2, 6,
Anybody who denies that is not being honest. And I wouldn't be
and
debating
3,
about it.
8,
Even CNN, all right, says, hey,
3, 8, 4, 9.
approval on foreign policy jumped from 35% in his first term to 43% today. We'll take it.
We're talking about 43% now. That's an 8-point rise. On the net approval rating, we're talking about a double-digit rise. The American people, like much...
All right, hold it. Hold it. We're done. Hold it. We're done for this matrix. All right, so now you choose 5, 5, 5, 6, 6.
Barack Obama had 37% because Putin had seized Crimea, and Obama kind of wasn't fair to him. Obama did a good job on attacking the jihadists, ISIS, and things like that. We documented the killing the killers. But Trump is way, way ahead. But you're not going to win the midterms on foreign affairs. It's not going to happen. All right, so tomorrow, I really wish
10, 13,
I haven't
26,
talked
10.
about it, but boy, I'd love to be in this meeting. So Zara and Donnie, who's the talk of New York City, wherever I go in the city, everybody knows me, and that's a good thing.
And 1836.
What about Van Donnie? What about Van Donnie? Can I tell you? You know, the guy, not a lot of subterfuge there. He's just also a communist. That's what he is. So expect the worst. He's going to Washington.
And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lines. We got 13 lines in the matrix.
No card to play, no negotiation, nothing. He's basically trying.
And this matrix is full. Now we're going to go on to the next matrix.
So nothing Mandani can do with Trump. Now, there are 2 big issues here. The first one is Mandani has publicly stated he's not going to cooperate with ICE. We're trying to find undocumented people in this country who are dangerous. That's what ICE is trying to do. Yeah, they do round up people who are not dangerous, but it is always in conjunction with the seeking of criminals. Yeah, I understand that. All right. So, here's what Mandani...
Oh, we're only 35 minutes into the show. Well, great. We can do another matrix. That's no problem.
The actions of ISIS. And what you did see play out a couple weeks ago, what is the response to Tom Holman? Yes, they said we'll be back. Yeah, I will tell Tom Holman what I will tell anyone who asks, which is the fact
So we're going to do 26.
And this city is also an immigrant city. It's a city that's proud of its immigrant heritage. It's proud of the fact that so many from across the world find their home in this city. And
35.
New Yorkers as we protect every New Yorker.
Okay, well, you won't because you have no power to do that. Now,
We're going to
I
do
don't know if
36.
Trump's gonna be as blunt as I am. I suspect he
29.
might be because there's another issue. So that is Netanyahu.
We're going to do
right?
42.
Leader of Israel. Mandani says if he shows up, in New York at a United Nations function or something, then Donnie's going to order the NYPD to arrest him.
67.
You said you would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu based on the 2024 International Court arrest warrant. Next UN General Assembly, as mayor, would you do that? So I've said time and again that I believe this is a city of international law.
93.
Looking to uphold international law, and that means upholding the
84.
criminal court, whether they're for Benjamin Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. I think that that's critically important to showcase our values.
New York City is not a city of international law. This is insane. It's a city of American law. And the United States does not recognize the International Criminal Court. Now, again, I'd love to be in this case. So if I'm Trump, I'm looking at Mandani, and I'm saying, listen, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, we don't recognize the International Court. Our cities are under federal and state laws, not law. And if you try to arrest not only Netanyahu, but Putin or anybody else, I'm going to have the FBI arrest you, because you're violating federal law. That's why Putin can go to Alaska. All right? We don't recognize that he's a war criminal. He is. But officially, we're not involved in the International Court. We don't do that. So I don't think that Mandani understands any of this. And I'm not sure how tough President Trump wants to be on the man. Because here's the kicker on it. If Mandani gets out of line, the alienates Trump will stop all the federal money from coming in here. Yeah, there'll be litigation on it because Congress is the one that designates the money for block grants to cities. But Trump can hold that money up for a long time. And he may win the litigation if Mandani violates federal law. And Mandani himself,
5673.
line that these guys walk about
We got 5533 from you.
did anything to interfere with ICE and Homan, as you stated, says there are going to be some ICE operations in New York City, some big ones coming up. And Donnie interferes with that and you'll be arrested. Now, man, Donnie might want that. Keep that in mind.
We got 9729.
Worldwide everyone and attention. All right, folks, let's talk about the timeshare nightmare. If you are paying endless maintenance fees, special assessments, it is time to call my friends at Lone Star Transfer. With more than a decade of experience, they lead the way in the timeshare exit industry with exclusive solutions. Lone Star Transfer makes timeshare exits quick, easy, and guaranteed in writing. Over the past 15 years, this family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They have earned an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews.
All right, so we got these numbers here.
For more than 5 years. Now, because they are the only company
Let's go here. 5533.
results from my list.
Then we got 97.
Please call 855-551-7066. 855-551-7066. Or you can visit
65.
transfer.com.
Now, the latest from the 77 WABC Newsroom.
Warning for Santa Claus, do not stop at Sid Rosenberg's house. I repeat, do not stop at Sid Rosenberg's house.
You can hear the warning all over the North Pole. That's Sid Rosenberg, host of Sid and Friends in the Morning here on 77 WABC. Hey, no.
I was just on my deck suntanning yesterday. It was 83 degrees.
Sid is a self-proclaimed anorexic and loves the sun, but when it comes to Christmas down south, that's a different story.
You know, you drive past houses, they got reindeer and snow on the roof. It looks so ridiculous. I mean, I would go to
We got 8800.
Go to the beach, 80 degrees. We're supposed to know.
So when he moved back to New York City from the warmth of Florida 10 years ago, he got a quick reminder of the weather he grew up with in Brooklyn during the holidays. Cold and snow.
I hate snow anyway. I hate it. You know, if you're living like Henry Fonda in that movie On Golden Pond, and you can sit out.
We got 4378.
Inside your house and have a nice
fire burning and just watch the snow. It is lovely. But then something really wild happens. You gotta go outside. You gotta go to work. Yeah.
And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
And then you have to deal with snow the day after.
You know, then in the city, of course, there's no white snow. It's yellow, it's brown. And the dogs, all you people have dogs, you're just a bunch of idiots. It's just gross. And, you know, it's like you're living in Utah. You get to sit and watch it from the ski slope.
But things are looking up if you're a Sid.
You can count on one hand the amount of snow days we get now. You know, you get like 2 snows a year. You get like 2 inches. We don't get snow anymore. It's weird.
But that's enough for Sid to have his sights set elsewhere.
I've gone to Florida a couple of times this month. I'm old at this point. I just had enough.
Lisa G, 77 WABC News.
4378, and we have
America's heroes like Josh Bischoff.
we have 65, 65, 67.
Until tragedy struck and he was killed in a helicopter collision while fighting a California wildfire. He leaves behind his wife Cheryl and their 2 children, Derek and Juliana. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation paid the Bischoff family's mortgage. Support heroes like Josh and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
It's the Rev.
All right, then we got the 3-digit numbers here.
This is Rabbi Joseph Potasnik. This is Reverend A.R. Bernard. Every Sunday for the Rev and the Rabbi. Don't miss the dynamic duo, the Rev and the Rabbi, every Sunday morning at 7.
I got
You
9,
download the 77 WABC app.
3, 7.
At WABCRadio.com. Join us for the Rev and the Rabbi every Sunday morning at 7.
That's 7, 2, 6.
Listen to this podcast now.
7, 2, 6.
Cats and Pudding. Hosted by Jen Dillon.
And we got 4.
Favorite person in the city across from me, Mr. Lawrence Catania. Hi, Chad. I'm so excited to finally be here. This industry breeds paranoia.
438.
People turn on you, friends who you'd never expect, stab you in because you're always fighting for your spot. Well, it's a devil's playground, isn't it? It is. I don't want to call you a circus animal, but it's kind of like this. When I have to look at myself in the mirror, right? So I've always with people.
And we got
who
525.
understand, making you do these things. Absolutely. NBC isn't calling you and saying you have to do this. It's what you choose to do because you drink the Kool-Aid of wanting to stay.
And we got
And
4,
that
3,
is not
5.
only our bosses, our producers, it's on anybody. It's what you choose to do with what you have.
And we got your 200 that got carried over from the other page.
Favorite podcast platform. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Begin your Saturday with expert views on the economy with Larry Kudlow. That's just one of the unpopular, unsuccessful.
All right, where are we here? 6, 5, 6, 7.
And enjoy. Music Radio 77 WABC.
And you got 4, 5, 7.
With Vinny Maduno. Hey, I'm Vinny Maduno. At 6, it's your Cousin Brucey. It's Cousin Brucey. Saturday night rock and roll party. Then at 10, it's Tony Orlando. Saturday Sound Best. WABC. This is Common Sense with Bill
And you got
O'Reilly
8,
on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
8, 3, 3.
From El Paso, Texas, is Dylan Corbett. He is the executive director of Hope Border Institute.
8, 7, 7.
First thing, when 10 to 15 million migrants enter the USA under the Biden administration,
2,
do
2.
you or your organization object to that?
Hey, Bill. It's good to have you. It's good to be with you. Great to be on your program. Thanks for the
2,
invitation.
2, 8.
It's a good question. I think there was the perception that not everything was as orderly as it could have been.
And we got 45, 68.
And I think we were certainly vocal about some real criticisms that they had. The way that they enforced immigration law at the border, the way that they really didn't coordinate the arrivals, they didn't do enough to coordinate it in a secure, in an orderly, in a safe way here at the border, the way that they didn't coordinate the arrival of people into many of the interior cities like we saw in New York, that generated perceptions of chaos.
We got 2206.
The perception that the system wasn't working. And I think that we were fairly critical. There were also a number of people, because they did they did take some real steps in the direction of increased enforcement at the border. And here in El Paso, for example, during the Biden administration, we saw the numbers of people skyrocketing, the numbers of people who were dying at the border skyrocketing because there was no real way.
And Holman made that point. But look, we researched your organization. We didn't find anything that you objected to the.
Now we got 68888.
No statement, no interview by you, nothing. So you might have been disturbed by the chaotic aspect of it, but you certainly didn't come out and say, look, we need to stop this. So Trump gets elected, he stops it almost immediately. So what you saw and your agency had to deal with disappeared in about 45 days. Did you object to Trump stopping it?
Well, I think that we all agree. I think Americans, whether they're on the right or on the left, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, that we need to have a well-managed border.
Okay, but what Trump did, though, let's be specific, not
The 73 number is ignored because the 73 number is a 2-digit number, so that's ignored automatically.
I certainly have to read this situation because
Okay, give me one objection. What did he do that you don't like?
there's a cost to doing what the president did.
We got 732.
He shredded our system of asylum, and he shredded our system of receiving refugees. People who are fleeing, they're fleeing wars, they're fleeing serious violence, they're fleeing serious causes of poverty, which are driving them to flee and to migrate to our border in search of protection.
Okay, so you think that he shredded it. Now, the official policy of Homeland Security is you can apply for asylum in the United States. You have to go to a port of entry to do so. You can't just be caught in the desert in Texas or Arizona, say to the ICE agent or the Border Patrol agent, I want asylum, which is what Biden allowed. That was the big thing. They disregarded the Biden administration, the law Congress passed in 1952, saying all asylum must go to the American consulate or embassy in the home country or in the American
407-792.
You can still apply for asylum here. So you have an objection to that?
Well, I question that a little bit, though, because I think
389.
really isn't being respected. Neither at ports of entry nor between ports of entry. I quibble a little bit with how you're characterizing asylum law because people do have the right.
And 908.
They don't have the right to apply for it on the ground. They have to go to a port of entry or an American facility in their home country.
Yeah, 908.
That's what it says.
Okay, so we got 732, 115. And now we got to get 1515.
I can tell you right now from my experience, I'm only just a couple of miles from the port of entry here in El Paso. If you were to apply for asylum there, you're going to get turned back. You're going to get sent back to Mexico. So the system right now,
04.
we have an asylum system in the United States.
Let me look into that.
35.
From what I understand, it is still a functioning system. But if you're right, and I'll report it. Okay, let's move ahead. So you've got down between 10 and 15 new migrants that were
9918.
that are now here. What is the responsibility of the United States government to support those people?
Yeah, you raise a good question. And I think you said earlier in the segment.
34.
The United States government really does have a responsibility.
78.
Coming into our country, and we do. Important. We've got to manage the border so that it's done in a safe way. We've got to protect the national security of our country, and we've got to protect local communities. If people are threats to our community, as you said earlier, you support immigration enforcement of those who are threats. We do have to go after legitimate threats. We shouldn't be allowing anyone to game the system, to exploit the system.
All right, we still have the pattern empty.
So
The pattern is still empty. The matrix is still empty.
We can agree on that. Now, what do we do with the other folks who are in the country? Some of whom have been in the country for a long time, many who've been here for more than 10 years, many here for more than 20 years, many people who have roots in the country. Their children are going to schools, they might have a small business. What do we do about those? That's the question on the table right now. Whether you agree with what's happening on the border or not.
17.
The question right now is what do we do with what we're seeing in the country around enforcement? You mentioned the bishop statement. I think the big takeaway from the bishops is that they're really pushing back against mass deportation as a strategy. strategy for dealing with this population.
27
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000
3
miles,
4
have an auto warranty about to expire, or have no warranty, listen up. As a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan, it's now available to the public. You can save out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs.
9 8
Please call Car Shield now.
1 7
Find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered 800 881
1 7
Protection plan is at
8
an all-time low price.
7
Drivers who activate this vehicle protection today
1 7 8 7.
also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options.
Then we got
So please call for your free quote.
2 202
0365 800 881 0365. Hey, what do you have to lose?
and we got 3 9 0
You're listening to the #1 Nielsen rated Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for listening. 77 WABC.
and we got 8
Every family caregiver could use a little help finding the necessary
0
resources
4
to care for their loved ones. Visit aarp.org/NY caregivers to learn more. That's aarp.org/NY caregivers.
and we got 5
Tools, tips, and a resource
6
to help
7
caregivers in New York access key programs, services, and agencies in their community. Visit aarp.org/NY caregivers to learn. That's aarp.org/NY caregivers. The Securities International Incorporated in New York, seeks an executive director, digital infrastructure, investment banking to lead origination and execution of M&A, capital raising, and advisory transactions within the North American digital infrastructure space. Requirements: bachelor's in finance, economics,
5 6 7. All right, so now we got what do you have?
bachelor's experience in the position.
All right, we already got 15 15 0 4 37 17 11 17. We got to get 4407.
Overseeing and conducting financial modeling, including sensitivity analysis and scenario analysis, merger modeling, accretion dilution analysis, dividend discounting, DCF, LBO, and three-statement construction, valuation analysis, including terminal value analysis related to cap rates and equity free cash flow yields, financial.
All right, 4407.
Including pitch books and investment.
Let's go. Numbers, chick. Numbers, chick. Pick some numbers. Pick some numbers. Pick some 3-digit numbers and pick some 4-digit numbers. Let's go. We got 10,000 combinations and 1,000 combinations.
And deliver tailored banking solutions. Member Series 79 license required. Salary $300,000 a year. Email resume.
1,000 combinations with the 3-digit numbers and 10,000 combinations with the 4-digit numbers.
You owe back taxes to the IRS. Whether it's due to job loss, a divorce, a new business venture, or you just didn't file your taxes, don't lose hope. Powerful relief programs are now available that can.
I'm gonna do my coloring show next.
Eliminate what you owe the IRS. With the cost of living affecting millions across the country, Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying anyone with $5, $50, or even $500,000 in back taxes to the IRS to call to get relief options. With over 1,000 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, TRA is America's trusted choice for real tax relief. Relief options are now available that can give you a fresh start and peace of mind. End your tax nightmare today by calling our tax relief hotline. Dial 800-390-9865. 800-390-9865. That's 800-390-9865. Or visit TRA.com. Tax relief.
We're gonna go 3
for real people.
307.
With Lionel from the other side of midnight. The Flannan Isles lighthouse lightkeepers disappear. It's December 1900, and the Flannan Isles Lighthouse has gone dark in the wild islands north of Scotland. James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and William MacArthur are currently manning the remote outpost. Captain James Harvey and the crew of his ship, the Hesperus, are traveling with assistant lightkeeper Joseph Moore to investigate. Island Moors, a small isle off the northwestern coast of Scotland, an island with few year-round residents and the location of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse. Upon arrival, the men find the lighthouse deserted, and the three lightkeepers nowhere to be found. Inside the lighthouse, which is strangely unlocked, untouched plates of food are laid out on the dining table, and a stopped clock is found in the kitchen. Also, a chair is knocked over, and two of the three coats belonging to the lightkeepers are missing. Despite a thorough search of the lighthouse and the island, no bodies were ever found. And
587.
why all three lightkeepers would have left the lighthouse at one time, because it was strictly against the rules. The men likely disappeared sometime around December
986.
1900, when a vicious storm swept across the North Atlantic. There have been many books written about and inspired by the disappearance of the Flannan Isles lightkeepers, as well as the film The Vanishing, starring Gerard Butler, released in 2018. Many believe the three lightkeepers lost their lives in pursuit of their duty, but to this day, no one knows for sure what really
4398.
happened to the lightkeepers. And so, the whereabouts of the Flannan Isles lighthouse innkeepers continues to echo into the unknown.
This is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
America is more dangerous than ever with violent crime on the rise. While you could rely on a firearm, using deadly force today could land you in court, costing years and your life savings, trying to prove you acted in self-defense. FBI data shows 99.9% of altercations do not require lethal force. That's why smart Americans are turning to Byrna. Proudly made in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Byrna's less lethal self-defense launchers are trusted by law enforcement, private security, and more than 600,000 citizens. Byrna launchers fire kinetic rounds and powerful tear gas or pepper projectiles, able to stop a threat up to 60 feet away. No background checks, no waiting periods, delivered right to your door. So take control. Be ready. Visit Byrna.com. That's BYRNA.
3006.
Or head to your local Sportsman's Warehouse. Is Dylan Corbett. He is the executive director of Hope Border Institute. If you look at how many migrants are being detained,
55.
would be a hard number, all right, of all the people who were allowed in here under Biden. But I understand that.
67.
I would go a different way. I would. Well, you don't object to criminal aliens being deported immediately, do you?
So I think we do need to remove anyone who's a threat to our the safety
All right,
of our
so criminal aliens gone.
9767.
Domestic services. The problem is, according to Director Holman, who's an honest man. I mean, he's a hard. I was going to say hard. He's a hard guy, but when they raid, looking for migrants that have judges' orders signed for deportation and criminals, when they raid, very often there are others with them.
5472.
Children who are here without credentials, and they have to bring them all in. That's what the government says. Is that wrong?
Well, as you said, I do think we've got to target people who are threats to our local community. But
99.
That's not what we're seeing right now. The data are pretty clear.
82.
You know, if we look at everybody, for example, who's been targeted and arrested and detained this year under the Trump administration, 2/3 of people don't have a criminal conviction.
18.
So that's the vast majority. We're talking about the overwhelming people.
83.
The overwhelming percentage of people who have been targeted.
But 1/3 with criminal interactions, that's a hell of a lot of people in danger. But I'm with you. We don't have a disagreement there. If there's another way, if there's another way to adjudicate peaceful, undocumented migrants, then we should explore that. Congress's responsibility, of course, to do that, and they don't do it.
There we've got a broken and both parties are at fault, and it's been broken for a long time. And that's the reason that we're in this predicament right now, because we've kicked the can, both the president, the White House.
100%. You can't be going a 1952 law, and it's 2025, and you people sit around and do nothing. Now, the Catholic Church, if you look at the theology, are you Catholic?
We got 287.
Okay, so we have to be compassionate to everybody who's poor and in a bad circumstance. And that
We got
includes
594.
And I am. I can prove it. But the Catholic Church, A, refuses to use the words undocumented, won't use it, and number two, portrays this as an issue where the government is the bad guy. The U.S. government is the bad
472.
guy. To you that the bishops are misguided because the government is trying to protect Americans from this massive wave that nobody has any control.
887.
See my point?
I see what you're saying. I think, and I would say that the bishops, and I worked for the bishops for a number of years. I worked for Vatican for a number of years. I think what's really happening is that these religious leaders
5 and 4.
They're responding to two things.
36.
The reality of these actions of ICE and the immigrant enforcement and the raid. They're really
All right, we're finished with the 3-digit numbers. We finished with the 3-digit numbers.
There's been situations where school teachers have been ripped out of school. Where parents have been ripped out of cars, where their kids are left behind.
The 3-digit numbers are finished.
But that's not the rule.
The 3-digit numbers are finished.
I think that they're responding to that, though. You're seeing the images coming out of Chicago, of Los Angeles, where we're deploying the Department of Homeland Security, but also the FBI, and in some cases the National Guard and the military. Nobody wants to see this. It's not good. And in fact, it's turning off a lot of voters. A lot of people who supported Trump and said,
All right, and we only need, let's see.
a lot of people are stepping back.
Yeah, we'll finish the 4-digit numbers.
Responding to what they're seeing locally, but they're also responding to the Pope. Pope Leo, he's been outspoken about this, especially in the last couple months.
But that's his job.
So we got 45.
We're working on it, but I don't think he's going to do it. But I was saying
07.
My first question after asking him for forgiveness would be, listen, every government, legitimate government, has an obligation.
And we got 54.
And when you let 10 to 15 million unsupervised foreign nationals into a country, that's not protecting your people, your holiness, is it? I'd love to see how he answers that one. And they all fall back on the teacher in the school or the mom in the... I got it. But there is a tremendous problem here, fostered by our own government under Biden. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think the Holy Father would respond this way. I think he'd say you're right. There's a place for borders. There's a place for governments managing immigration so that it's done in a way that's efficient.
5487, 6982.
I think the Holy Father would probably agree with that.
And the last number is
When we honor the stranger,
7.
we'll be better off.
3.
The Christian thing to do, the right thing to do. But it's also
7-5.
He's from America. He knows this is a country that's benefited from the contributions of migrants.
Last number 7375. All right, we're finished. We finished the matrix.
There's got to be a better way. You're right. But it isn't letting
Finish the page, finish the matrix.
The impression that the Catholic Church is giving not only the USA, but in Europe as well. Ms. Corbett, very good debate. We really appreciate you, and thank you for coming on today. Joining us now from Redding, California, nice town in the northern part of the state, Joseph Tully, who is a criminal defense attorney who has appeared with me before. Is an honest man in my assessment, and that's what we're looking for. All right, Counselor. Number one, is the way I'm framing this is, okay, I'm a senator or a congressperson. I'm going to want to vote yes on the release. But I am very, very uneasy about what may happen. Do you see it the same way?
I
Sure, I do have concerns because, as Mark Twain said, something effect of, a lie will go around the world, much quicker than the truth could put his pants on in the morning. And we have a system of justice of innocent until proven guilty, and that must always be adhered to. But I do share concern that with the release of these files, that unchecked, unfettered information to go to the public, they will draw the worst conclusions and kind of run with it, and we'll have sort of guilt by association or guilt within
So that's a fact. That's a fact. That's going to happen. And then the people who are in business to
All right.
destroy Trump,
Finish the numbers show.
what they want, and the people who are in business to destroy the Democrats or Bill Clinton or wherever it may be will cherry pick what they want. We've already seen that. Now, when the House Oversight Committee released some of the documents, we had a bunch of emails by Jeffrey Epstein himself. Who cares? That's hearsay. The man is in prison, all right? The man has been convicted, and I'm sitting there stunned. Who cares what this thug, this lowlife says? It doesn't matter. It's hearsay. It could be introduced in any court proceeding, correct?
Correct, yes. I mean, there are exceptions to the hearsay rule, but in looking through that from a legal perspective, I didn't see anything that if, from Donald Trump's perspective, there was any kind of, actual threat against him or actual
Factually, you're correct. Factually, you're correct, but that's not what the press did. Jeffrey Epstein says I can destroy him. That's what the press did. You thought? Sure.
While ignoring the fact, yes, while ignoring the fact that you had two Americans casually talking about blackmailing or possibly blackmailing a presidential candidate. They focused on his statements, which really didn't amount to any sort of accusation against Donald Trump.
No, it was the general statement. So, why do you believe that what our discussion is based on now has been suppressed? There is not a skepticism being shown by the national media about this information at all. It's gleeful. Let me run and exploit this. Why do you think that's happening?
So I do think that the water has built up behind the dam in terms of public disclosure and transparency. I think the American system is based on a transparency of government more so than any other country.
Well, that's it. We got the.
With the FCC, I think
We're finished with the numbers.
There's been a withholding of evidence, and the public got very, very fed up. And sort of the pendulum swung to one side, release it now, we're tired of it, we're frustrated, we've been waiting too long. And that, I think, is contributing to the public sentiment, where they're very, very upset that the disclosure has not happened. And now
when you say, now I'm in a court of law with you, well, there's evidence that there's a cover-up. What is that evidence, in your opinion?
I don't see evidence of...
Yeah, 9767. We're already finished with the numbers.
Right now, there's no evidence that evidence has been destroyed, which would be a cover-up.
Okay, or suppressed. So if the evidence is suppressed, and it looks like there might be evidence in the assassination attempt on President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, the FBI might have suppressed evidence. And we're going to do that story tomorrow because we're a responsible news agency here. I have to check it. I can't take it out of the New York Post. I have to check it myself because it's a serious concern. The FBI suppressed evidence about the shooter. Then, no, you gotta look at it. But in this case, what I'm seeing is I wrote a book called Killing the Witches. And the hysteria that all those hundreds of years ago, Massachusetts led to the death by 20 human beings, exactly the same hysteria is in play right now, here in America.